Hello, creative freelancers and solopreneurs. Welcome to Coaching for Creatives. I'm Aura McKay. I'm the founder of Business of Creativity. And this episode is all about action and results. So I am sure that most of you have been working hard over the last few months and doing a lot of gathering of information, reviewing your offers, looking at setting up schedules and productivity, because you've been listening to the Coaching for Creatives live broadcasts and you're implementing and applying everything you've learned. And if you've been doing all that and you've been taking all that action and you're still feeling like maybe you're not making any progress or moving forward, then today's episode is for you, because I have some news for you, my friends. Not all actions are created equal. Yep, that's right. So one of the things we're going to look at today is the amount of effort that some actions take. We're also going to look at which actions actually matter to you. So one of the things that we look at in that, I'm going to tell you the third thing we're going to look at, and how to stay and get in action. So I think those are the things that we're going to talk about today. If you are joining me live, I love to see your comments and know what might be stopping you from feeling like you're making progress in your business. One of the things that the very premise that I want to establish right off the bat is the difference between the kinds of actions that make an external impact on the world and the kind of actions that are internally focused, that maybe don't get seen or perceived as action and progress by the rest of the world. So two different kinds of action. One kind of action is going to be visible externally. You're going to see lots of stuff that you're going to be able to get feedback, like likes and interactions and engagements, and you're going to actually know, it's going to be validated that those actions are working. The other kind of actions are all internal. They're very much about preparation and learning and those kinds of things that are necessary but don't necessarily have that external impact. I see here Cassie says that she gets distracted too easily, and Jamie offers definitely feeling like that right now, that you're working really hard but not getting a lot of stuff done. So I am with you, Jamie, and I am with you, Cassie. I am also getting distracted. I often get distracted when I have lots of different things going on, where I have a whole list of to-dos or shoulds, and I haven't really prioritized them. So I have talked about how do you stay productive and how do you stay focused in some of the previous Coaching for Creatives broadcasts. So have a look at some of those past recordings. And if you're still struggling with that, Cassie, drop me a little note and I am happy to offer you some additional resources. Today, I want to really focus on the feeling like we're working and not really getting anywhere. That feeling like it's like you take 2 steps forward and then it's kind of like 3 steps backwards. And it's hard to see that as progress. And it's hard to see that as actually making any kind of difference in our lives. So one of the things that we can do is we can start training ourselves to look for the evidence of awesome, to look for the evidence of progress, to look for results differently. So sometimes the reason why we're feeling so deflated and like we're not really getting anywhere is because we're not necessarily measuring the right things. You know what I'm saying? Hi, Manpreet, welcome. We might not be measuring the right things. We might be looking for, did I get any new inquiries? Did I get any new clients this week? And the actions that we've been taking might not be measurable by number of new clients. Or said another way, if you're watching this live broadcast right now, I believe that you are taking action towards your business. From my perspective, this counts as progress, as investing time, as something that is valuable and does matter. But how do you measure it? How do you measure the value that you receive from gathering knowledge, from doing the preparation work, from doing the behind the scenes, from writing that blog and then rewriting it and rewriting it and rewriting it until you get it down, from doing all the planning and the preparation? How do you actually measure that so that you can feel like you're making progress? And gang, that's one of our big downfalls in our culture, is that we get so focused on the end game, on the goal, on the finish line, on scoring the point, that we miss a lot of the blessing and the progress that happens along the way. I am noticing that there's a lot of background noise, so I'm just gonna close the door and the window and see if that helps. Hang on. Yes, I'm wearing pants. I always just like to reassure people whenever I get up when I'm doing a live broadcast, because in this day and age, you don't know. So many broadcasts from home, you just wonder what the presenters are actually doing, but I am wearing pants today. And I want to get back to that idea of the distraction, because here we go. There's noise outside. I'm trying to stay focused. Things are going on. How can I do that? Well, I'm going to eliminate some of the background noise. I'm going to create an environment where I can stay focused and stay productive. And then I'm going to measure things that actually matter for the activity that I'm doing. So one of the ways that you can measure value is on time invested. When we are looking at billing our services and billing out to clients, we think about, and one of the factors that we include in creating our pricing is how much of our time are we investing in the project. So if you consider your business as your project, you can start to look at how much time are you investing in your project. And what I mean by that is, so often we neglect to spend time working on our business because we don't get the accolades, we don't get the validation, we don't get the likes and the cash flow and the money and all of those kinds of things. It's much, much harder for us to kind of feel good about working on our business. So one way that you can measure is you can set up goals and targets for the amount of time that you're going to commit to investing in your business. And these kinds of things, watching these kinds of live broadcasts and learning new skills and exploring new ideas and options, all of that is investing in working on your business. So Jamie offers, I think I'm better at making big end goals, not so much the little steps leading up to them. So I feel like I'm not making progress. Yeah, okay. So two things with that one, and thank you so much for sharing that, Jamie. One of the things is that big goals can be exciting and are sort of like the end game. And like I said earlier, like that's what we are trained to do here in North America. We're trained to think about the score and the goalpost and get driven towards that. So that has been programmed and practiced as the biggest motivator. The other thing that becomes challenging is that if that goal is far away, it can be really hard to see all of the actions that it takes to get there. Or you can see all the actions and it starts to get totally overwhelming because there's too many steps. So one of the things to do is to just pick one thing to focus on each week or one thing each day. It doesn't even matter if it's the right thing, gang. It doesn't even matter if it's the right thing. Just the act of setting the intention of focus will change how you feel about your day, and it will change what you actually get completed. So getting back to the idea that not all actions are created equally, often this means that we're only going to do the actions that are fun or that get us that kind of external validation results, kind of feedback loop that are going. So I encourage you to write down a list of the actions that you are taking in your day or maybe even in your week, and look at what some of the verbs are. So if you look at the verbs around the actions that you're taking, and I do love language, it's part of my thing. So if you look at the action and it says, researched how to use hashtags, worked on my blog, updated my events calendar internally, met up with my coach. All of those kinds of things are very internal actions. They are about preparation. One of the metaphors that I like to use is the idea of a duck. And you can see the duck on the surface of the water. And on the surface of the water, everything looks calm and great, and all you hear is the onk onk and the occasional onk onk of the duck. And underneath the surface, the duck is paddling away like mad, doing all of this work underneath the surface. And for many of us, most of the actions we take are underneath the surface. They are internal. They're all that work that we have to do to paddle like mad, to stay afloat and keep moving. And only once in a while do we take an action that is post on social media, share that with someone, call that person, attend that event. Those kinds of actions that are above that surface of the water where we are actually making an impact externally. So I encourage you to look for ways to measure the under the surface actions, all of the stuff that you do that doesn't necessarily get that external impact. You can measure it by time invested. You can measure it by progress made or things that you've learned or let go of. But the important thing to do is to track it or to understand that there's huge value in those actions that we take in terms of preparation. With a small caveat, we need to do those external impact implementation actions, or we don't end up getting noticed in the marketplace. We don't end up actually making any kind of impact except for on ourselves internally. It's very much like, just staying behind your computer and doing all of your creating and never actually sharing what you do with the world. You could be doing all of the work, creating an amazing website, collecting a bunch of images that are going to be perfect for social media, writing tons of blogs, but never actually posting them or putting them out in the world. So really have a look at the kind of action you're taking, and know that there's a time where we have to do more preparation and less implementation in our lives and in our businesses. And right now with COVID, with a lot of people looking for new marketplaces, with changing some of our offers, with rethinking our business models, a lot of us are spending way more time on the preparation part. And the preparation part can be distracting because, again, it's not the fun stuff and we don't get all the external validation and the kudos. The preparation stuff can be deflating because we're not getting into that feedback loop that is so much a part of our creative self-expression for so many of us. And, we're really not getting that external validation. So the key is that there are times where we're going to spend more time on the inside game rather than the outside game, and find ways to acknowledge that progress. And one of the ways that you can do that is by joining the Facebook group for the Business of Creativity, because every Wednesday I give you guys an opportunity to practice celebrating those small wins, those small elements of success. Because one of the other challenges for creative entrepreneurs is that we don't really have anywhere to share our wins, to share those incremental successes. So it's kind of like we just give ourselves an own internal little pat on the back, but we don't get that feedback loop. So to get that feedback loop, I encourage you to share your wins, to share your progress, to share those preparation actions and those internal successes with your support network, with the Business of of Creativity community and get celebrated and get that kind of acknowledgement so that you can get fueled up to keep going and to keep doing the work that is necessary to master the business of creativity. Gang, I hope that those tips have been helpful for you. Jamie, Cassie, if you're still watching us live, Manpreet, if you're still watching us live, please let me know what your takeaway was, what, if anything, you got as value. And I am looking forward to seeing your wins, your incremental progress get celebrated tomorrow in the community on the Facebook group. Gang, my name is Aura McKay. I am the founder of Business of Creativity. This has been Coaching for Creatives. It is a live broadcast every week on Tuesday at 2 p.m. Pacific, right here on my Facebook page. Thanks so much for joining me. I will see you next week.